Hi chums, right, I'm going to do a short video on how I organise pen blanks after I've got them prepared for processing. So if we take a basic pen blank, now this is an oak whiskey barrel stave, and you can actually see the shape of it there. There's this mate beside it, you can see it they're bent. So what I do is I check the end first, and if the end doesn't look that good, I routinely just cut the end off. It gives me a nice clean end for when it comes to the milling process. It gives me something cleaner to work with. Then I measure out the length of the blank. Now that's a tube that's going into the pen there, slimline. So I measure that out, leaving myself a couple of mil on each end. And so that's the pen blank. That's it measured out. Then, this is the important bit. What I do then is I take a Sharpie and I put a witness mark on it. Okay? So it means that the grain will line up at all times. Now I have oak whiskey written on that, but what I'll write then is OW and OW on each side of the blank, and then number 1 and number 1. And it's this, on this one here then I can just copy onto this one, and I know that I'm going to be cutting there and there and there, and that'll be witness mark OW2 OW2. Okay, now I don't actually use those marks. I have a jig set up on the bandsaw for cutting those, so those are irrelevant, but for the purposes of laying out a blank, that's what I do. Now, why is it important? I'm going to show you why it's important now. Because when you're doing 186 blanks, you end up in this situation here, where you've got loads and loads of blanks, all of different types of wood. But imagine knocking that tray over, it would be just a disaster. So if we take something like this olive wood, okay, there's olive, right, olive 1. Now there's the witness mark to let me know what way the grain runs, because if I drop those blanks and orientate them again like that, the grain doesn't line up, and if you do it that way it still doesn't line up. But by having the witness marks on it and the numbers, it means if I drop that, I can put it back exactly as it was. But it becomes more important if I drop it and there's more than one olive wood blank, then I know which blank goes with which. So it basically keeps everything right for when I go to process these. Alright, so I've got my witness marks on. Now these have all been drilled. The next thing to look at is, right, we'll take a piece that has got a nice, we'll go, what have we got here? There's holly. Holly's nice, right? Okay, so we've got our holly, and that's holly number 1. I think there's 3 hollies here. And then, if you notice the witness mark, whenever I go to drill these, I turn the blanks like this, and then I drill from this end, because I know that this is where the grain lines up. So if I drill from this end, I know that the drill bit is starting right in the center of each blank. So if it does wander a little bit, I know it. If it wanders, it doesn't matter, because it's been bang on here. So whenever I put these together again and turn them, they're going to line up properly, and it doesn't matter about the grain out here, so long as the grain here matches. Now I could become really fussy about this, and I'll try and find a slimline pen here. There's a little slimline pen. I'll just take any other blank, right? I could in fact take the 2 blanks and reduce the thickness of that black band, and then cut my blank so that the grain lined up perfectly across that little gap. But for the sake of a little slimline pen that people are going to lose anyway, I wouldn't be bothered going to that. But I know a couple of people who does, and my mate John does that. So then, as I say, that's them all ready to go. The next part is drilling them. Now there's a couple of interesting blanks here. I got these given to my friend Ricky. He cast these. That's a black pepper blank. And whenever I was drilling that, all you could smell was black pepper. And this one here is a chili blank. These are chili flakes. And I drilled that. Now I don't know how they're going to work out, because you can see we had a bit of an issue at this end. It kind of got blown out. But that's the problem with using things like chili flakes and that, and coffee beans. They tend to blow out. But what I'll do is, as I'm cutting this one, I'll save the dust that comes off it, and then use it to fill in any wee gaps there are. So that's that. But the other thing I was going to say was, your drill has to be bang. I drill all these on the lathe, and your drill has to be bang on. Now it's not so bad when you're doing a big blank like that there, okay? In this one here, I've actually had this is a dig bowl, and I've identified this one because this top has been done without the cap in it. So I've actually extended the blank to cover where the cap would go, because this is going to go together with no center band. So identify the top of this time, because I know it. I turn all my pens in this orientation, so the top's always on the left. So it means that I know that when it goes on to the lathe, this is the top, because I'm going to cut all this writing off. So I need to know which one's which. The other thing I was going to say to you was, if I I finished that thing. So you're doing a big thick blank like that, that's no problem. But when you're doing a blank like this, like a little bit of snake wood, now those are actually crochet hook blanks that I got, but I'm still able to manage to drill them with a 7mm drill bit. So my lathe, I've got my lathe absolutely bang on square, so I'm really happy about that. But even saying that, before I do my next pen run, I'll purposely knock the lathe out of square and then re-square it again, so they know it's absolutely bang on. So I know my lathe's good, everything's worked out okay. So whenever I go to glue these in, I'll glue them together in pairs like this. Don't touch them together, especially if you're using epoxy, because they'll actually glue together. So keep your blades, keep them slightly apart, and then I'll just process them as I can. I also mix up the colours. There's purple heart and witch elm and yew, cherry, apple, and there's some over here. There's elderberry, Meranti, elderberry, and I mix them up because it means if I do drop some, I'm not dropping all the purple heart or all the cherry or all the laburnum. So it means it's a slightly easier, because you can tell by the colours which ones go together a bit faster. You only have to drop a tray of blanks without any witness marks once to know you don't want to do it again. It takes a long time to put them back together. So that's basically it. Somebody's going to ask me about the setup on the lathe for drilling, so I'll just bring you over there. If you just excuse me moving my tripod here. Ooh, a bit thing. Right, we're on our way, we're on our way, and there's something else I meant to tell you, and I've forgotten what it is, but there's my setup there. I'll just turn the big lights on here. There's my setup for drilling there. I just used one of those chucks with the long jaws, and Jacob's chuck here, and I know my lathe is absolutely bang on, so I can drill as required. Alright, so that's how I do it. A couple of people ask me, why do you mark your blanks like that? And that's the reason why. So just going back to finish off looking at these again, I'll just let you see them. I like processes, and I like sequencing, and I like order, and I like this sort of setup for doing blanks. You can just go through them not very quickly, but very easily, in the sense that there's no stress involved in mixing things up and that. I call it organisation. My wife calls it OCD, so I think she's going to be closer than I am, you know. So there you are. That's it, folks. That's why I identify every blank and every end of every blank and use witness marks. You can see all these things have got witness marks on them. Okay, all the best now. Bye bye.